toxic trait is that I celebrate things in spirit before they actually happen. So by the time it's a reality, I've already moved on to the next goal. A lot of you guys said that you could relate, and it's something that I have been dealing with for years, right? It's like the inability to celebrate self, and not in a self-praising, prideful way, but just being able to kind of be present in the moment and celebrate the little and big wins that we have. I will envision things. I will kind of set goals, envisioning the end result, right? And kind of put myself in that mindset for things to happen so that I can motivate myself. But when the things actually happen and they actually come into fruition, I find that I'm not able to really celebrate them because I'm like, well, I already knew it was going to happen. Well, I already knew it was going to get to this point. Like, I've mentally moved on to the next thing. And what I've noticed that it kind of causes in myself is like, there is no space for celebrating wins, big and small, right? Because I'm constantly looking towards the next goal, looking towards the next thing that I have to accomplish, and having that view of like always looking towards the future kind of blinds us to what we have right in the moment, right? Like, we need to be able to kind of have that balance of like looking towards the future and having that vision, but not looking so far ahead that we miss everything that's around us. I remember when I first started modeling and I was on like, they weren't like big billboards, but they were on like storefronts, and people would recognize me and like, oh my God, I saw you here and I saw you there. And my friends would make such a big deal out of it because it is a big thing. But I would be like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's whatever. And they're like, how come you're not excited? I'm like, because I already saw myself on these billboards. I was 16 going from agency to agency after hearing no, come back when you're older, no, you're not the look that we're looking for, no, you don't have what it takes. After hearing all those no's, what kept me going and kept me pushing and sending emails and going to different agencies to get signed, what kept me going is the vision of myself on billboards, was the vision of myself in catalogs and e-com and all these different spaces. Like, that was my motivation. So from my perspective, it's like, I already knew I was gonna be here. I already saw it in my mind. I knew this was gonna come into fruition. I knew it was only a matter of time, right? But what I've noticed is that doesn't allow me to actually sit in my wins, you know? We have to be able to celebrate our wins and not always be looking towards the next thing, right? We have to celebrate ourselves, because if not, it kind of creates this like rat race of like always chasing the next thing. And I noticed that for myself, where I can never celebrate myself because I'm always looking towards the next goal. I can't sit in the excitement, the glory of like, yeah, I really did that. Yeah, I'm really proud of myself for that. Pat on the back, Abby. It's always like, well, I already knew that was gonna happen, so it's not that special, right? And so I think it's important to have people around you that recognize your wins even when you can't, but also taking the accountability to be like, hey man, like, it's not, you don't always have to be looking towards the next thing. That creates like also a sense of anxiety, a sense of like, of chasing something that doesn't have an end. So a new thing that I've been doing is kind of going around neighborhoods and just taking street photography. Photography is something that I think I'm starting to get more and more into. I've always kind of had an interest in it, but I guess allowing myself to really dive deeper into it now. I love capturing like just moments of people being happy and just everyday mundane moments, because for me, in a way, it kind of reminds me that like even in moments of feeling stressed and overwhelmed and you feel like your life is hectic and crazy, there's still so many lives around us that are simple, that are mundane. And so, you know, when we get caught up in kind of this rat race or like feeling like we always have to be productive and that we always have to be doing something, I like taking pictures of moments of stillness where people are just being, or nature is just being, because it reminds me that you can just be. You don't always have to be working. You don't always have to be doing something productive. You can just be, and that in itself can be productive in a sense, right? Like, even the quiet and still moments have a purpose, and they pour into the moments where you're productive. And if you really think about it, they allow you to show up in those productive moments and in those moments of like focus or work or whatever it is, right? They allow you to show up in those moments fully yourself and even more of yourself, so you're able to deliver more. I hope that made sense. I was kind of rambling, but yeah, that's what I've been up to. I just kind of walked around and there was a really pretty car I got a picture of that. That was gorgeous. Hopefully I got a good shot. I don't know. We'll see. And then there was a really cute cafe that was just around the corner that I went to the other day, and it was empty. And I was like, I need to come back because I need to take pictures of it. But I just like walked by and it was completely full. So I was like, I don't really want a coffee. I was going to get one just so I could take pictures of the place, but I think I'm going to come back on a different day when there's not so many people in there so I can kind of just like take pictures of the actual space, because it was beautiful, and the way the sun was coming in was just like, oh my God. I might have got actually some pictures or videos from my cell phone on that Sunday that I was there, so maybe I can show you guys a bit of that. But yeah, that's just something that I've been into and that I wanted to share. So yeah. You don't have to do everything to produce something. Some things you can just do to enjoy. A lot of my painting isn't necessarily about creating something that's beautiful and artistic. Yes, I aspire to do that, and once I get in the process of painting, I find myself wanting to make things aesthetic and wanting every little detail to match up. But really what I love most about painting and sketching and drawing is that I can escape, and it's something that I can focus on. So yeah, not everything you create and not everything you do has to be like to create something for other people to enjoy or for it to be successful or be an art piece. Sometimes it's good to just create as a hobby, to create for fun, for an escape, whatever it is. I think traveling is so amazing because it allows you to see life in a different way. It allows you to see life from other people's perspectives. So what I learned from traveling is that like not everybody is living a hustle and bustle lifestyle. Not everybody's days are filled with work and productivity. There's actually people living in this world that are taking it slow and have a slower pace to life. And so that just reminds me that like all the goals and ambitions that I have and all the tasks that I want to achieve are important, but it's also important to have a balance and just live life while you do that. Because the thing that I notice for myself is I'm constantly looking ahead, and the thing is, when your vision is always towards, you can never see what you have in front of you, right? And so what that does is it steals from the moment, and it also steals from your gratitude, right? If you are not able to see what is around you and what is in front of you, if you're constantly looking towards the future and towards what's ahead, you'll never be able to sit in the moment, in the present moment, and appreciate what you have around you, right? You'll never, the way that I kind of understand it is you'll never be able to invoke gratitude. You'll never be able to understand it and live in it, right? Gratitude is looking at the things around you, regardless of how much you have, regardless of how little you have, and saying, but I have something, right? I might not have everything I want. I might not be the future woman that I want to be. I might not have all the goals and everything that I aspire to have, but I do have a lot right now, right? I'm very blessed in this moment, right? And you know, the thing that our parents always told us growing up, or my parents always told us, is like, just be grateful you have food on your table, right? And I used to think of it as like, well, yeah, everyone has food on their table. Like, this is like basics, right? But you have to really like calibrate yourself to life. It's like, not everybody has these basic needs, right? These basic needs are subjective, right? Some people don't have meals to eat. Some people don't have the little things that we just think are basic, like me having a cup of coffee every morning, me having access to a cell phone where I can connect to my friends, and you know, I'm never disconnected. I'm never really alone. That's a blessing. That is something that I can sit in and say, I don't have everything. I'm not the person that I want to be. I'm not my future self just yet, but I have a lot around me, right? And so it's focusing on the present instead of always looking towards the future. And I find that practices like painting, practices like singing they allow us to come back into the moment. They allow us to really just focus on the right here and the right now, where we're not being distracted by everything else that's around us, right? So find the little activities that allow you to just kind of forget, right? Just forget. So whether that's painting, whether that's singing, whether that's going out with friends, find your thing that brings you into the present moment. I know for me, another thing that I love to do is like having good conversation. I love going out to like a restaurant and having good conversation, because for me, that's an escape. I love hearing about my friends and their lives and what's going on with them, and or they tell me stories about their coworkers and things like that, and we're laughing, right? The moments where I'm not glued to my phone and I'm not, in my own world is what brings me joy, because it's a relief, right? And so if you are at a stage now where you do find yourself getting stressed and you do find yourself getting overwhelmed with life and the pressures of life, maybe find your things that help you escape, right? And it's important to be like, you've got to kind of hold yourself accountable to your escape, right? What are you finding escape in? Are you finding escape in, substances? Are you finding escape in maybe some toxic habits that are not actually pouring into yourself, right? I know for me, my toxic escape back in the day was like going out and partying, right? I would go out to parties and I would drink, and that would be like fun for me, but really it was an escape, but maybe not so much the most productive escape. And so it's finding the things that we can do. I guess you could call them these innocent things like painting and singing and hanging out, that just invoke that joy and allow us to invoke that gratitude for the present moment that we are in.